What's going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today we're going to talk to you about SoFi. I want to go over some expectations for this upcoming week, what might cause some volatility in the price, and where I see things going from here. Before I get into any of that, make sure to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And with that said, let's get right to it. So starting off with this upcoming week, there's 2 days to watch for. Thursday, which has GDP numbers coming out, and then on Friday, PCE, especially based on what Powell recently said last week. A lot of people can be watching those 2 data points. So if they are positive, then yes, you're going to see the market continue up. If not, if it's negative, comes in a little bit lower, you're going to see a very significant pullback. But at the time of doing this video, the fear and greed index is at 72, so people's appetite for risk is still very much there, which could really stand to help the broader market and SoFi as a result. Aside from these 2 days, there's a lot of Fed speakers, one of which is even starting off on Monday. Based on Wall Street, it does look like people are anticipating that the Fed speakers are going to be somewhat hawkish. They were even anticipating Powell to be somewhat hawkish, and were very surprised the fact that Powell came out and said what he did. So if potentially a lot of the Fed speakers this week are somewhat negative, then again, you could have that really pulling on the broader market. But aside from that, there isn't any companies unveiling their earnings this week that's going to disrupt the broader market. And SoFi specific, there isn't anything that's planned for them. So no conferences, nothing like that. But then again, Anthony just jumped on with Jim Cramer last minute just to hopefully fix the sentiment. Because when it came down to that new note, a lot of people weren't really fans of that, and obviously that in among itself was causing a strain. This is just throwing it out there, but I wouldn't be surprised if he actually did buy some shares this week, only because clearly him jumping on with Jim Cramer shows that he's trying to fix SoFi's sentiment. And one way to do that, and he's very much aware of it, is to buy, him physically buying. So again, that's just throwing that out there. That might happen, might not. We'll just have to wait and see. But like I said, no actual news planned for SoFi for this upcoming week. As far as shorts though, going into this upcoming week, 19.55% of the free float is being shorted. I've already covered all this in this last Friday video, but one thing that you want to watch for is, regardless of the market and whatever is happening across the board, shorts seem to be relentlessly increasing their position. And so you can kind of see based on the chart right here, they have just been going up and increasing. This week we should find out a true update for the shorts, because the NASDAQ does usually disclose it on the 24th. So probably tomorrow, if not on Tuesday, we'll find out what the true short interest is. So again, that might really help. As far as options though, like I've said, there was a lot of money getting into options on Friday, and with it closing above $7, that does mean you're going to have about 14,000 in open interest that's going to be exercised. Market makers going to buy that, whether it be pre-market or during the trading days. So as a result, first thing, you should see a nice spike up. So they cover about 1.4 million equivalent for stock, or for common stock, I should say. So essentially, that's kind of a good thing. Looking at the options for this upcoming week, you do have 15,000 at the 750, 15,000 at the 8, and then it kind of diminishes there. So essentially, it could be a very good week. You have a free and clear run up there, so no crazy manipulation or anything like that. And like I said, Thursday and Friday are going to be big days for the broader market. Up until then, it is going to be every stock's individual technicals that's going to dictate higher or lower. So I'm going to talk on that in a second, but essentially SoFi could run up to here. Of course, the first sign of weakness, it is going to pull down pretty significantly, similar to what has happened over the last little bit. So right now, just some key points to watch for with it closing at $7.30. I'm looking at the right over here, the 4 hour, just on a side note, it is right above this pivot point of $7.29. So essentially it can run up to about $7.69. On a larger scale, on the 1 day chart, you do have that $7.47 resistance as well, and then possibly, depending on what does happen, maybe $7.50 due to options. But most likely that $7.50 resistance level done by options wouldn't really be formed up until probably the tail end of the week. So it should, assuming SoFi comes out of the gate running and just swinging, it can move up fairly fast. So it's a good opportunity for that to happen. But like I said, the first sign of weakness, whether it be SoFi specific or the broader market, you're going to see a pretty big pullback. So just one point to watch for, $6.90 will be that next strong support. So that's the S1. Aside from that, 665 and then 625. I don't think that's going to hit today, or I mean this week, but still something to keep in mind. As far as on the actual chart, it did fail to get above that resistance level, like I mentioned, of that 750 for it to hold. So this is where consolidation is happening. Usually consolidation is fairly good, healthy for the long-term aspect of the technicals. So for this upcoming week, you should see a retest, whether it does happen tomorrow or possibly on Tuesday, but that's going to be something to watch for. And again, if it does fail to get above that 747, this is where you'll see a even further pullback closer to kind of these levels right here. Looking on stochastic though, you do see a nice bullish deviation, so white line above the red. So of course that's kind of a good thing, and plus it is considered oversold. So at the same time, if there's some good pieces of news that does come out, whether it be specific to SoFi, aka Anthony buying, or potentially GDP or PCE, then you're going to see a rush of value investors getting into SoFi. So that could be a fairly good thing. A number of retail investors have been feeling a little bit more comfortable with SoFi and starting to get back in. So all in all, I feel like the technicals are looking somewhat optimistic. So I'm cautiously optimistic, but at the same time, like I said, a lot of things have ran up fairly high over the last little bit. So especially with what Powell recently said, and if, for instance, data is starting to turn a little negative, like I said, GDP and PCE, this is where you could see a further pullback. So all in all, let me know your thoughts on SoFi. Where do you see things going for this upcoming week? As far as the high, if it can and is able to get above this 750, then it could easily touch around that 780 range. I don't see it justified for it to kind of be above that unless there's something crazy that does happen in a very positive way. Vice versa though, as far as a low, I do feel $7 or 690 could be that low essentially. So overall, let me know your thoughts on SoFi. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up. Again, hopefully everyone's having an amazing weekend thus far. SoFi should be a very exciting stock to watch for this week. So let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up. And with all that, appreciate all of you watching.